Hey, welcome everybody. It is 7 o'clock, Wednesday, Valentine's Day week. Is that a thing? A week?
Yes, Valentine's Day week. You should celebrate love every day.
Yeah.
The two cynics.
It's horrible. Hey, there's Chris and Bill. How are you? Thank you for joining
Chris.
us.
Hi, Bill.
Of course, we are continuing with our top 10, and we're kind of doing the
Sure.
top 10 because we just did the top 10 like 2 weeks ago. But
Yeah,
we're
but
doing
it
this
kinda
one
worked
because of
out.
Valentine's Day. So normally we'll probably do it like at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month, something like that. But anyway, we're doing love episodes. But before we get into that, I think we have some news.
We do have a little bit of news. I only have 3 items in the news tonight, but all 3 of them, Rizzo, fall under the category of, is that a good idea? Really? Is that a good idea? And I would like to discuss all 3 with you. News item number 1, guys, do you remember? See, I'm a little younger, so I remember this, but maybe you guys are older and you don't remember this. Do you guys remember He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, I was too old to really watch that, but I do remember. I do know. I am aware of He-Man, and then the horrible Dolph Lundgren movie.
Yeah. So there's going to be another like live action He-Man, and it's going to star Marina Baccarin, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Alison Brie, Idris Elba, Jared Leto, and others. Is currently in development at Amazon MGM. It is expected in 2026. Is this a good idea?
I don't know. No. Say that, but when I was down at Mark Patton had his sale. Remember, he's doing his like every month or something. He's having his warehouse sale.
Yeah.
And I went to help him one time, and there were several people, not just 1 or 2, that were strictly looking for old He-Man toys. And they're collecting, and I'm like, and to me, they're like, and I'm like, on a Mark, I'm like, is this a thing? And he's like, oh yeah, that group of people that are into that,
yeah, Christopher, yes,
that age range, and I guess it's like us with GI Joe or I have the power and She-Ra and all that stuff. So,
but guys, of all the cartoons we enjoyed when we were kids, this might not be the one to make a live action.
They've done a lot of them. They've done Transformers with a fair amount of success.
They did Scooby with no success.
Although GI Joe with not that great of success because they did the GI Joe cartoon version. Like they didn't use GI Joe from the 70s.
Yeah,
there really wasn't a show. It was the toy. But, trying to think of what other they've pulled a few done a bunch, over the time.
I just. He-Man had issues. It had undercut.
I think they need to do Land of the Lost.
Oh, they did do Land of the Lost. They had Will Ferrell in it.
That was a test. Yes, they did it with the Will Ferrell version. It was a comedy, though. They didn't do it. I think they did it seriously. It was actually very funny.
He's got the bug is eating him, and he's
it kind of was a typical Will Ferrell movie.
Blood in the back.
But yeah, I mean, they have pulled stuff. I mean, what else would you? What cartoon would you?
I would take Thundar the Barbarian over He-Man any day.
There's potential there because that one had a pretty rich backstory to it. I did like Thundar. I was of the age of Thundar. That one I do remember from Saturday morning cartoon.
And then what else could we actually translate into live action?
We've done all the superhero stuff.
All the superheroes.
We've got all the superhero stuff. I mean, what do you want them to do? The Justice League with
I mean, and they've done Josie and the Pussycats, and they've done, I don't know.
So they're definitely trying to hit Gen X with that stuff. So it doesn't surprise. Like I said, they did do I think it was the 90s when they did the He-Man TV show movie, the last one.
And it was Dolph Lundgren?
It wasn't good. I think it was Dolph. Somebody might remember. It was a big blonde dude that played. I want to say it was Dolph Lundgren. Could be wrong.
All right.
Anyway,
let's move it on.
Move it on. Anyway, go ahead.
Moving on. News item number 2. We recently got confirmation that a follow-up, and Rizzo, this one is gonna rattle you. That a follow-up to Mel Brooks's 1980s Star Wars spoof is officially in the works. That's right, Spaceballs 2 is in development, also at Amazon MGM Studios. 2 movies. It's going to star Josh Gad, who's set to star and produce alongside Brooks. Rizzo, is this a good idea?
No.
I'm feeling like
no, because the original movie didn't do that great. It was okay.
No, it didn't.
Was probably.
It was cute.
It was okay. I mean, because the next one he did after that was what? Robin Hood Men in Tights, which was not good. Mel Brooks movies.
Was really Robin Hood immediately after?
Well, I'm gonna say immediately, but it was definitely after. And I think that was one of the last Mel Brooks movies that he did. I might be wrong, but
Put it in order, please, people.
well, I definitely Spaceballs was before Robin Hood.
Well, Life Stinks was in there. Got squeezed in
Yeah.
there. Spaceballs was 87, Life Stinks was 91, and Robin Hood was 93.
Okay. I didn't show you how bad Life Stinks was because it stunk so bad nobody remembered it.
Yeah.
No, I
then
mean,
came Dracula.
don't get me wrong. Mel Brooks has done some. I mean, Young Frankenstein is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. But,
that is a good one.
Of course, Gene Wilder wrote that. But even you go back to other stuff like High Anxiety and stuff.
The thing about Spaceballs, though, Rizzo, is it came out. What did I just say? I just said 91. No, I just said 87.
No, 80. It was late 80s.
Late 80s. It grabbed on. So Star Wars would have just kind of finished, like Jedi would have wrapped up. It grabbed on. This was still in everyone's conscience, and so it grabbed on and made fun of it. What is Spaceball 2 going to grab on and make fun of?
I'm sure they'll pull some modern Star. Well, they'll probably make more fun of modern Star Wars. So either you're going to see some Force Awakens garbage,
are they going to do like stuff. Aliens or
maybe
like,
Alien? Well, Alien was around then. They didn't touch on that other than the joke about at the end with at the diner, which was the funniest part of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, not again.
Exactly.
So that was the funniest part of the movie, in my opinion. Period. Right there.
Oh
That was the most redeeming thing of the whole film. They did Pizza the Hut, and I don't know. The problem with Hollywood today and television, we just keep remaking old stuff. Like they can't. Can we just get some creativity and come up with some original new stories? New IP. I want new IP. Stop relying on the old stuff and let's come up with some new stuff.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, finally, last article tonight. For All Mankind has a spinoff. It has found its first cast member. Variety has reported that Rhys Ifans, who I adore, is set to star in the upcoming drama series. It's called Star City. And you may remember that in the world of For All Mankind, the Russian counterparts, all their stuff takes place in Star City. And so this will be, I believe, the entire same alternate timeline, except now we're going to do it from the Soviet perspective. Rizzo, is this a good idea?
I'm going to go with actually. Well, I mean, I love For All Mankind. I don't.
But do you want to?
I don't know if this is a good idea because I think people are going to be. We saw because they're going to have to rehash the same storylines.
Yeah.
From the other perspective. So it could be done well, and it could be done, and Apple has a very good track record of being creative with stuff like that. So I'm going to give it 50-50. I'll certainly start to watch it, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, we'll look at it. The official description that they've released is it's a propulsive paranoid, which I guess tracks for the Soviet Union, thriller that takes us back to the key moment in alt history in the retelling of the space race when the Soviet Union became the first to put the man on the moon. You remember that moment from For All Mankind. It was like such a wrong moment. Well, now we're going to see it from the Soviet point of view. I don't know if I want to. I might look at that one moment and sit through it and be like, okay, but I don't want to watch 5 seasons of and then this happened, and then we were on the moon and we shot at the Americans.
They have to, because all the things that happen in For All Mankind, they have to. Those storylines, it's going to happen because it's already happened. You're just seeing it from the other perspective.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can think of is they're going to flesh out more of what's her name's not Monica, Margot's
time over there, maybe.
Yeah, over there, and maybe some more of how they were purposely trying
what he was doing, her little boyfriend there.
They're purposely how they're manipulated that situation, and then of course the whole weapons on the moon thing, and so I don't know. We'll see.
The other thing I'm really curious about is I'm wondering if maybe Mike and Denise could tell us if they're working on it. But who's going to be our resident Soviet space stuff expert?
There's a lot of information. I mean, obviously we've been using the Soyuz rockets to get to the space station.
Yeah, we've been right now.
Shuttle program. So I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff. There's always the stories that the Russians killed a lot more astronauts than they let on. Mm-hmm. There's a few I think that they never admitted to accidents.
Yeah, they
They didn't
did.
want to,
There's
so
stories that
that
we
might be
intercepted
fleshed
from
out more.
transmissions that
There
were
might
pretty
be more of
horrifying.
that kind of thing going on. There's separate things that are not related
Hi,
to
Nick.
NASA. So
Yep.
we'll see.
All
I'll
right.
give it a shot.
For drama, it's
of
just
their track
drama,
record.
guys. It's alternate history drama. It's just a drama.
Yeah.
So, but still, I don't know.
No, but you're right. When I first watched the first episode of For All Mankind, in that moon landing, you're like, it sets your teeth off.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's like it's very
It did.
disturbing.
It just seeing the flag and the footage, you just like.
It's just some reason it's not real, but it's disturbing. The irony was, in reality, the Russians weren't anywhere near able to get to the moon. Like their program was way behind ours.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, is that it?
That's all I have. Rizzo, what are we drinking tonight? We're talking about.
I don't know. I was Googling.
Love Star Trek style.
I was Googling Valentine cocktails, and this one came up first.
That's Valentine's.
Okay. Why? So it cracked me up. So here we are, naked and famous. We are neither naked nor famous.
Oh, mezcal.
I get mezcal, Aperol. So I pronounced that wrong, I'm sure. Yellow chartreuse and some lime juice. So could be good. I don't know.
Could be good. I'm not 100% familiar with mezcal.
I imagine if you drink enough of them, you'll have no problem. Enjoying Valentine's Day. We'll put it that way.
Bill is saying maybe it'll be that everyone in Russia seeing the Americans get to the moon first. Maybe it is. I thought it was going to be the exact same story.
That would be, that would be actually an interesting twist on the story. That it's not actually it's a spinoff. It's a spinoff from their perspective. But of course, that would still have to line up because the drama.
Yeah, the drama.
I don't think that's what I think that's an interesting idea, Bill, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
I don't really know what they're going to do. I thought I understood it to be the same story over again, but maybe they're not. Maybe they are going to go, here's another alternative. And there's just one way it could have happened. Here's another way it could have
happened. Another way. Yeah, I don't know. All right.
Let's do Love Star Trek style.
So these are the love episodes, top 10 with honorable mentions. Again, my disclaimer is this is by no means a definitive list, or is it something that we would stake our lives on?
No, I wouldn't. Rizzo had us both come up with lists, and my list was actually quite different.
Yeah, and of course, I will admit, mine's a little TOS heavy because that's what I know the most.
Mine was I tried to spread it out over everything. So,
however, yeah. So all right. So we're gonna come right out of the gate, and this is I'm sorry for the pictures. Okay, so this is Blood Fever.
Is number 10. Are we going 10
this
to
is
1?
Number 10. Number 10. Blood Fever from Star Trek Voyager. This is a story where B'Elanna and Tom Paris.
Okay, you guys remember this one? This is the one where some Vulcan is going into Ponfar, and he decides, I want B'Elanna. And so he kind of starts doing the Vulcan telepathic thing, and she somehow catches Ponfar. Now, this is in a romance novel, this is what's called forced proximity, or it's a conceit. It's a forced contrived situation to force B'Elanna and Tom Paris together, which is kind of dumb, but it does do nice things to sort of develop their relationship. And while they never end up having to do anything for Ponfar, they both kind of realize, oh, hey,
it was the kickoff of their relationship.
It was kind of a kickoff. Yeah, maybe someday.
Spark catalyst.
Yes, it was the catalyst, but it was very contrived. Do I personally love uber contrived? No, not really. But sometimes, when you're in space, crazy things happen.
This one wasn't on my list. This
one was on my list, but it's only because I needed something for Voyager, and it was either this or Janeway and Paris making little salamander babies. So,
there was the Janeway episode of where she kind of falls for the Irish guy in the holodeck.
Oh yeah, the Irish guy.
I forget the name of
the episode. There was also one where she and Chakotay are stranded on a planet, and Chakotay is so nice to her, and she still friend zones him.
Well,
Janeway just never.
Voyager didn't have a lot of these.
No, Voyager did not have any romance.
No, not a lot. This was the only thing that really. I think you had the weird relationship between between who was the cook there, Neelix and
Oh yeah,
and
Neelix and Chris, Jen.
yeah, and you had that weird relationship
What
that
was
it
her
was
name
almost like
again?
were they dating? Were they more like a
It was
father-daughter kind
weird.
of
Yeah,
relationship?
it was weird
It
and
was
wrong in
very
many ways. Yeah.
bizarre, and I think it was probably another reason why they dumped that storyline. Nobody liked
Voyager
her
was so
anyway.
experimental in so many ways, and they didn't always knock it out the park.
Well,
So you know,
and
let's move on.
as many people know, Voyager's never been my favorite Star Trek.
All right,
We're gonna move on. So
we're
the
gonna move
next
on.
one
We're done with Blood Fever.
is looking for Parmash in all the wrong
This
places.
one's infinitely better.
This one was a
Infinitely
good one. This was a
better.
good pick, and one I probably would have missed had Mary Beth not suggested it. So the basic plot line is actually there was a previous episode where Quark met this
Her
Klingon
name
woman,
is Grilka.
and she comes on and Quark he wants to court her. Of course, it's kind of ridiculous that Quark as a Ferengi wants to court this Klingon woman, but Worf gets his little Worf up a little bit, his Worfiness, and he wants to go after her, but then he is quickly told that because of his dishonor, he is not eligible,
Not worthy.
eligible for Ponfar. So he decides he's going to help Quark, I guess, him and
Quark had married her because the House of Ferengi or the House of Quark. He had already married her. I think she was his.
Yeah, but it was done for political reasons, or it wasn't love, and he actually wants to do it now for love, I guess.
So anyway, go ahead, keep going.
So anyway, so Worf helps him reluctantly.
And so does Jadzia, because Jadzia is the resident.
Jadzia helps him, and then Worf is upset the whole time because he can't understand why this awesome Klingon woman would even be interested in Quark, and basically, finally, Jadzia at the end is like, maybe you should look at what's right in front of you, dumbass.
Jadzia is dropping some heavy hints throughout the episode, and he is not picking up what she is laying down.
Not a merry man. So
he's not a merry man until the end, where she's like, "You should see what's right in front of you."
Right.
Hello.
And so she basically attacks him in a Klingon mating type way.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
And then they end up both in sick bay, which is hysterical. They're both in sick bay, beat the hell out of you.
This is Star Trek sex at its finest. I love it. And then Worf and Jadzia were a great couple after
that. And this is also the catalyst of their relationship, which ultimately leads to marriage.
Yeah. Great, and
unfortunately, her untimely death.
And her untimely death. Oh, Terry Farrell.
So I don't know what else to say about this. It's a funny episode.
Yes, it's funny. And but here's the thing about Jadzia and Worf, since we're on it. They tended to shine a slightly more comedic light on their relationship. Like it was always kind of, oh, haha, we brutally beat on each other every time we, you know what I mean? Like they always sort of took it that way instead of making it this really deep connection between two people. I guess there were plenty of serious moments too.
They did once they got more serious, and of course once they got married, there was some definite more serious moments.
Yeah.
I think at the time I think it came out of more like most people weren't expecting it, because remember there was always that in TNG there was this when they had the alternate timeline stuff.
Yeah, he was with Troy,
Deanna, and which was weird. But
and then he had his ex-wife, the mother of Alex.
His ex-wife show up, right? Alexander's mother. Of course, she gets killed, so he can't pursue that relationship.
Worf just wasn't really lucky in the love department.
And then it kind of makes sense though, because Dax, the Dax symbiote, has had so much history with Klingons.
Yeah, it does make it does make perfectly good sense.
Yeah, this is why I had Terry Farrell sign my batleth, because
she did so.
And she did. She's connected to the Klingons.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good episode. I liked it. I'd forgotten about it until you mentioned it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good one, because it's a good Quark episode too.
It's a good Quark episode too, and also Armin Shimmerman also will be at Trek Ticonderoga this year.
That's right. So if you have questions,
I was literally just watching him on Buffy, like moments before the show started. I was watching Buffy, and there's Armin Shimmerman.
I just remember from Seinfeld.
Oh God, yeah.
He was the caddy. Don't you remember?
He was awesome at everything he does. He's just so funny.
Yeah, no, he's great. I think I've met him a few times. He's actually a very nice man, at least from my experience. I mean, I didn't have long, deep conversations with him. But
I'm
he
looking
seems a
forward
very
to it.
down to earth person, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to him coming to Ticonderoga. It should be a good.
Yeah,
And
should be a
Nana,
good
I'm
time.
very excited about Nana or Nana.
Yeah,
Nana.
very curious to
Nana.
meet Nana. It's Nana.
Wow. I said she's like she gets more beautiful every year. I think.
Yeah,
I
she is
swear.
spectacular.
She's just lovely.
She let her hair go gray, and she just looks
She looks
fabulous.
great. Yeah, I don't know what it is. She looks great.
I let my hair go gray. Just like I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking I'm going to color it because woof.
You know, it's funny.
So we have to
This is totally sidebar. I came across a picture from one of the. I think it was when the authors came up to. And
I
there's a
remember
picture of
that.
you and me, and you look like 20 years younger in this picture. I'm like,
Do I really? Yeah. That's see how Star Trek is. Star Trek just sucks the life out of you.
I didn't look so great either. I mean, I look better. I don't know. Anyway,
if you find it, shoot it over to me.
Yeah, well, I saw it. It was today. I was looking for something else.
And you're like, God, have I known her for 20 years? No, I haven't. What the hell?
She looks like she's just like 30 there. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, all right, moving on. We are up to that was number 9. We are up to number 8, and now we are into TOS. So, Requiem for Methuselah. This is a great episode just in itself. I love this episode. I love the storyline of the. Of course, I have a better picture there. Of course, of Kirk and what was her name again?
Lady Gaga. It's Kirk and Lady Gaga.
Lady.
It's that meme.
No,
it's Raina.
The character's name is what I'm. I know
Raina.
that's Louise. Is that Louise?
Is that Louise? Is that Louise? Oh my God! Yes, it is.
Yeah, Lee Sorrell. Yeah. She's been to Ticonderoga. She's been to Ticonderoga at least
first
once. Yeah, it's one of the first ones. Yeah. So, so this one's interesting because of course the story. You guys know the storyline. I'm not gonna go storyline. We have this guy that's immortal, essentially, has been Da Vinci, has been Mozart, Brahms, all these people in history, and he's living out on this planet now by himself, and he builds this android essentially to be his companion, but she doesn't understand love. So of course, who has to step in? The Kirkmeister, the Shat, comes swinging in.
That's what he does. He teaches the ladies love.
In typical Kirk fashion, he falls head over heels in love in 30 minutes. He
just wants her to join him back on the ship.
Yeah, and she does. She loves him, and he sees that. And the what's the main character there? I forget. The guy that lives forever. What is his name? Why am I forgetting his name? I don't have it listed here. Shit. You know what I'm talking about. Flint. And so he realized that she does love him. So he was successful, but of course, then he wants her to choose between Kirk and him. And she's torn because she does love Flint, but I think she loves Flint in a fatherly way more than a romantic way. Correct me if I'm wrong, because that's what I got. No,
you're right. That's what I got out of it.
I think that's and I think that, but she didn't want to leave Flint because she did love him. So eventually, it overloaded her positronic net, as they would say in TNG, and she just shut down, and that was the end of that.
And then luckily, we have Spock to tell Kirk to forget.
How many times has Spock done the forget?
I don't know.
I don't really see it this one time.
But since Kirk was always finding an alien to
fall in
love
with, he's like
a lot of times.
I got to do this again. Forget again.
This kind of a thing, this sort of like Kirk beams down and falls in love with the alien female is why we have like the robot chicken episodes of Star Trek that making fun of him. Like he really was the ladies' man back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, how many episodes just alone in TOS does Kirk,
most of
get
them,
his funk on?
So many of them.
They always joke about the green women, but he never actually did that.
There was a green woman. It was played by.
There was only the one for Kirk, which was. It was
played by Batgirl. What's her name? Yvonne.
Yvonne Craig.
Yvonne
so
Craig.
She was which was one in the horrible episode with
and she's dancing.
Yeah, it's a bad episode. Anyway, that one's not on our list.
Others are, so stay tuned. Let's keep.
Others are. So anyway, yeah. So the basics. I just thought this was a good one because again, it's a Kirk falling in love episode. He falls hard, and she does too. So we see this. I think they portrayed it very well, and I think the key to this, why this episode made the list and where it is on the list, is that final scene where she's kind of fighting herself, saying, "You can't make me choose." Like this isn't fair, and and Spock warns him. She's very, don't do this. She's very, remember, he kind of says you should, or was it McCoy? I don't remember which one. Says, she can't handle it, because she's like a newborn.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
She's like a child. Yeah,
like a child. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
Nick is saying he kind of still is a ladies' man. Yeah, Nick, he is kind of still the ladies' man.
He's always. Let me tell you, Shat's still got it.
Shatz, yeah,
he still got it at 94, 93.
94,
94 next month.
God love him.
He still got it. All right, we moving on for this. We don't have much else to say.
Yes, we can absolutely move it on. Beautiful performance by Louis Sorel. Let's move on to the next one.
Let's move on to the next one. We are back to DS9. Hello, come on. It's not switching for me here.
Ooh, more Jadzia. Yes.
More Jadzia. We are Jadzia.
I love
this one's
Jadzia.
called Rejoin. So the story here is that Jadzia's symbiote and this other person's symbiote were married at one time.
Back several lives ago.
Several things ago. And they meet. Now in Trill society, it is forbidden for them to to pick up where you left off, as I think it was Kira that said, why can't you just pick up where you left off? And it was the doctor, I think, that comes in. No, you can't do that. It's a very serious thing.
Although, interestingly, the very first time we ever meet a Trill, it's with Crusher, and that Trill does want to just pick up where he.
Well, again, that was kind of you're right, and that. Well, of course, the Trill also had ridges on his head and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So they developed the Trill a little bit.
They developed the Trill a little bit, but I mean, one could argue in that one. That one is that's episode is called The Host, and in that one it was just a brief relationship. Like they hadn't really, they were dating, but it wasn't like they were married.
In this one, those two Trill were married,
right? And before. they were husband and wife, and it was a few hosts ago. It wasn't like the last host. It was back in the history.
It was a couple hosts back.
So anyway, Jadzia wants to say, the heck with it. I'm going to throw all my Trillness to the curb, so to speak, and have you stay here with me on DS9. There's a whole sideline story where she's a scientist and they're running.
Yeah, they're working on something together.
And she's like, stay here. And of course, at the very end, Jadzia's kind of up on the promenade watching this entourage from Trill leave, and of course, she's waiting to see if this woman shows up or she's going to stay. And of course, she does show up. Of course, a little later because they got to have the drama.
Yeah.
And then she realized, they look at each other and they both realize that they're never gonna. That's it. They're never gonna see each other again. But this was pretty racy for 1995 or whenever it aired. We got to a lesbian relationship,
and it was very sweet. And it was well written, super well written. Good choice for our romance. Because imagine, like, you've had a wife of 30 years. Imagine seeing her again, but now you can't. You know what I mean? Like, that's my person. But I can't be with that person. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's just it. If you think about it, if you lost somebody and then they were thrust back in, like either, like they somehow you thought they were dead or something and they weren't, and then all of a sudden they're back. But no, you can't be with them because they already have a whole relationship with somebody else.
Yeah, they're in a new body.
That effect. Well, imagine, So it was a good love story. You could feel the pain in both of them.
Yeah. Agreed. Good choice. Good choice for tonight.
I think it was a pretty good episode. I think it was one of yours, actually.
Was this mine?
Maybe. No, I think this was mine. I take it back. I think
I think I focused more.
No, I think it was mine. Yeah, it was mine.
All good.
All right. We moving on? We're moving on.
Moving
on. So what are we up to? 10, 9, 8, 7. This is 6, right? Number 6.
I think so. 6, yeah.
Is good old the buck time. Now, Mary Beth.
Okay, we're going to fight about this one.
go ahead. You can. You know, all you guys know the story. I don't have to
You guys all know Amok Time. You already know this is the one where T'Pring, Spock's wife to be, says, "Yo, come on, we're gonna do the commitment ceremony," and then she 2 times. No, she doesn't 2 times. She
disses him.
Yeah. I disagree that this is a good choice for Valentine's Day because she never loved him. If we're choosing episodes that show true love between two, she never loved him. She was completely unethical.
I don't even see loved Stan or whatever his name was.
She loved Stan.
Stan.
And her argument at the end was like, well, if you had died, I would have had Stan. And if Kirk had died, you would have been in jail. I would have had Stan. She did not care that she was ruining 2 careers, 2 Starfleet careers to go have Stan.
Yep.
So I disagree.
So why is this on here? Why is this on here? I don't really know. I put this on there because I think everybody's expecting it to be on here. But like I said, I told Mary Beth, I said one of the things I put this in here for the one line that Spock kind of gets her at the end, which is a great line. When he goes to Stan, he has the line about, I know I'm going to get it exact, but he says sometimes wanting a thing is not as great a thing or good a thing as having that thing. And I know I screwed the line up, but that's the sense.
Sometimes having it.
And he kind of like basically says she's your problem now.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Bill is asking what made Stan worth it. Well, Bill,
I don't know.
Yeah, Rizzo, that's a great point about that line. I don't know if it's worth it just for that one line.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Should not be on the list.
What do you guys think? Should this be on the Valentine's list?
Is it just because Spock's horny? We can put it there, little Spock hornage.
Then they changed of course, if you guys watch Strange New Worlds, they changed up the T'Pring character, and I thought they were gonna maybe give her a little more justification, but they haven't.
Well, they haven't yet. But we assume that because he's never around. She's
a stone cold.
She gives him the justification because he's never there.
Yeah,
he's always
never
off.
there.
Yeah. She said, "You were becoming a legend." Because her line is, "You were becoming a legend, and I decided I didn't want to be married to a legend.
Be the consort of a legend."
Yeah, consort of a legend, or whatever how she put it. But yeah. So, it's not really. It's kind of a love episode, but it's bad. It's how love goes bad.
Love gone completely wrong, and also why you shouldn't have arranged marriages from the time you're 6 years old. That's what we learned.
We won't linger on Amok Time.
Okay.
So that's that was what, number 5? Were you up to?
Jeff is reminding us it's just Bill said.
Number 4. This is another one that I decided was good. So this is a 2-part. This is Terra Prime and Demons from Enterprise.
Yeah, we got to put both of these together. Yeah.
So these are a 2-parter. It's at the very end of the season 4, and the basic plot line is that after the whole Xindi arc, where the Xindi attack, there was basically a very xenophobic movement on Earth to basically go to isolation and very anti-alien. We're kind of seeing a lot of this in real life, sadly. And we all know by this point, we know that Trip and T'Pol have had a intimate relationship going on and off for a while.
Can you say decontamination
somehow,
chamber?
So this Terra Prime organization got their DNA and basically made a baby, a Vulcan human hybrid baby that, of course, they didn't know about. And once, so the plot is basically them trying to rescue this baby from the Terra Prime, and they do finally rescue it, but they realize that they were kind of sloppy in their DNA work, and the baby has some kind of genetic problem and is going to die.
Which
it's not going to survive.
A fascinating twist, a really fascinating twist.
And the reason I put this in is because you really, in those scenes with T'Pol and Trip with the baby, you really see their pain and their love for not only the child that they didn't even conceive,
not
but
even their
for
kid.
each other.
Is their kid, but not their kid.
It's their DNA, but they didn't conceive the child.
It's not theirs. You're absolutely right.
So one could argue, though, with in vitro and stuff like that, it's the same kind of thing, right?
Yes.
So anyway, that's why I put it on. I like this. I thought this was a pretty good episode. It was towards the end of. It was like one of the last 2 episodes of season 4, and then of course we got These Are the Voyages, which everybody hates. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't think it. I think it gets too much. That actually episode gets too much hate. I think it doesn't deserve as much I think they did. I think the sense that they did Enterprise wrong by bringing back the TNG characters.
Completely agree with that.
I think that was a kick. I think that was a kick in the teeth or kick in the face or whatever you want to put it to the Enterprise cast that, you know, we got to bring in these other ones from this other show.
Yeah.
You know, the more popular Star Trek.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was not a good or worthy ending for them. And having that ending come after this Demons in Terra Prime, like it really did the show a disservice, because this was like kind of a really deep dive into both Trip into Paul's psyche and like how and their relationship, and they're realizing like, oh wait, so if we actually did ever have a kid, it could be prone to this genetic problem. Like, and well, so what do we do? Do we still, you know, it was wonderful character development, and then they just said, and it was all just a hologram. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know.
Well, I don't buy. First of all, if we're going to talk about the last episode, I don't buy that. Oh, that implies the entire show was a holodeck program.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't. In fact,
I don't buy that.
Right.
I don't think
they were looking at the ship.
Stupid assessment that the whole show was just a holodeck program. It was just clearly that one episode.
Yeah,
it was trying to show the birth of the Federation.
Yeah,
which would have been logical for people to review that historically, that part of the history, you know, that we want to see. Yeah. But it wasn't a great. I don't know, you know. Because there were some really good books about it based on Enterprise that followed it, where Trip isn't dead. He's actually in good old Section 31, doing Section 31 things. He doesn't die at the end of the.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because a lot of people took his death really hard.
Oh yeah, it sucked. It was a stupid. He was one of the best characters on that show, and they ruined it.
Jetsia, but. People were really mad about Trip.
People that are Enterprise fan go by the novels, which we know are technically not canon, but everybody's like Spock, Trip lives.
For what it's worth, Rizzo, Manny Koto, who was the showrunner, I guess, he considers Demons in Terra Prime to be the actual finale of Enterprise. No, he doesn't count as.
Yeah, he doesn't count for. These are the voyages.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, that's our number 4.
That was number 4. Yep.
So we're moving on. So we're moving on. This was an easy one to pick. Star Trek For the World is Hollow, and I Have Touched the Sky. We get to see McCoy have a love interest, and a real love interest. McCoy had some that he was kind of like flirty with in Shore Leave, but this one he fell for her. He thought he was going to die, so. Would he have been?
He had a terminal disease.
He thought he had a terminal illness, which again was very convenient for the episode. So he decided he was going to live out his 1 year that he had left to live on Yanada. Yanada, is that? Yeah, Yanada.
Yep, it's Yanada. Yep.
With the head
with Natira.
Natira.
With the beautiful Natira.
Natira. So yeah, and I think he really did. Actually, think he probably did love her. I mean, he fell.
I think he did too.
And he was like, "Hey, I'm an older guy. I'm not going to get somebody this good. I only got a year to live. Might as well enjoy it." You know?
Who wouldn't really? But this was a really. I love this episode. I think this is a really special episode. This is, if those of you who watch Star Trek New Voyages, or maybe we were New Voyages. We did a sequel to this,
which never got finished.
Which did it?
No, never.
Oh, this is the one that didn't get finished. Yeah,
didn't get released. No,
this did not get released.
It was the last one shot.
I think, that's right.
Because Bredon, what is it? The Roman one didn't get finished either.
I have no idea.
Blood and Circus or something like that, or
Bread and Savagery or whatever it was called,
or something like that.
Yeah.
So that one never got released either. But anyway, yeah, this episode I thought was pretty good. It was because this was like the side plot, sort of. The main plot, of course, was that this spaceship
was completely
Yanada, but it was like a planetoid, and they all lived inside, and they didn't realize that they were on a spaceship hurtling through space.
No, they didn't. And so her innocence, like it kind of like the fact that she's this innocent character, kind of plays into the relationship, you know?
Right, and then of course at the end, they reveal to them there's always the computer that ends up in the megalomaniac computer storage in
It's always a crazy
at the
computer.
Daystrom station.
But they fixed it.
They always have to fight a computer that's trying to kill them. So then in the end, of course, they reveal to the populace of Yanata that they are living on a spaceship, not a planet, and we're gonna sketch it to you wherever they were supposed to go. They never do determine where. I don't think they were going.
I'm gonna show something special.
Okay.
Just because everyone's talking about it. Might get in trouble for this, but side is which. This side is the original still. Can you guys see that?
Let me remove
Make it big
this.
so I can.
Yeah.
This is the original still that with DeForest and Leonard and Bill and I can't think of her name. This is what we did. There's our Natira, our Bones, our Kirk, and our Spock.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Never got released. You're never gonna see it. No, Nick, it's not out there. You can't find it.
No, unfortunately, the only thing I did see it wasn't publicly released. I think James had a copy without the effects and stuff. It was a rough cut without the
there will be a rough cut, but it's never going to be released because of our license now.
No, we can't.
Anyway,
we can't ever
really, really sweet. This was a really sweet story, and it was fun to pick it up and keep going with it.
Right, and our story was him returning to Yanata, or the Enterprise returning
to Yanata,
and then kind of rekindling their.
And it was also the one that we had. It was the one we had Richard Hatch for.
Right. We had Richard Hatch for that one. You're correct. Yep. Okay, we're up to number 2.
Up to number 2.
11001001 is the name of the episode. This is one of my favorite TNG. This is season 1, I believe, right? And so the basic plot is
really season 1. Yes, he has no beard.
Yeah, it's might be 2. I don't know. No, I think it's 1. Anyway, so the Enterprise has to go to this Binar planet, which are the two fellas on the right. I say fellas, they're probably non-binary. No pun intended there. To get the computer overhauled. But they have a subplot. Basically there's a whole problem where the planet needs to upload its main computer core. So this is a race, I have to explain, of hybrid beings where they're all interconnected with each other and the planet-wide computer that controls everything. So they're all kind of connected. Yes. So there's going to be like an ion storm or something that's going to wipe out the computer. So they need to get all the memory out of this main computer that controls the whole planet. And so they put it sneakily into the Enterprise's computer and then steal the ship. Oh, they steal I take it back. They steal the ship from the starbase and then go to the planet to do this thing.
But that's not the romance part.
Well, wait, we got to set it up a little bit. Okay. So they come up with a way just to get everybody off the ship with a faked warp core breach or something. And so the only 2 people left on the ship are Picard and Riker, and these 2 guys. Riker doesn't know what's happening because he's in the holodeck having at a bar in his, and he asks the computer to create basically his ultimate woman. Well, since the computer now has this massive database, almost an AI living in its computer, it creates Minuet, which is the woman
Minuet, yes,
which is Riker's ideal mate, so to speak, in his mind, and he falls in love with her, and she's a great character. It's kind of sad that we never really got to see her again.
Yeah. She's beautiful, and she's she's a great
They did bring her back in the one episode, but she wasn't real. Like, she was just part of a...
Yeah, she was just like a...
Yeah, that's how he knew he was being tricked, because she's not a real person, and they were trying to play it off because she was so important. And that's kind of what goes back that shows that how much she meant to Riker, is that when the Romulans tried to fake... I think it was the Romulan... No, it was the kid, right? That was another whole storyline. It wasn't... They thought it was...
Anyway, it was the son, like the son.
There was this kid, that was supposed to be playing his son. It was just an alien. Saw her in his mind and recreated her, thinking she was
my mom, and he's like,
because
no.
she was so real in Riker's mind to him.
Yeah.
So, and the sad part of this whole story is once it's resolved that the computer is now purged of the Binar's code and it's back to normal, he could never recreate Minuet. He said he tried every different, version, and it was never her. So he was kind of heartbroken that he never could, of course, bring her back.
Yeah.
Because she was more than just. Anyway, I don't know. I like this episode. I think it's a good one. I think it ranks up there. I think it's a good Riker episode. I think Riker had a few Kirk moments.
Riker had a few flings. Riker's right behind Kirk in the ladies.
There was some other ones. What was the one? There was one where where he kind of fell in love with the literally non-binary.
Oh yeah, that's right. The non-binary. Yeah,
the whole race doesn't have gender, but this one felt that she was female, even though that was a good one. That one probably should have ended up as at least an honorable mention because that was a good episode as well.
Yeah. I mean,
and it was very very reaching for the time.
Yes,
to have that kind of storylines. You guys don't realize.
They were really trying for the time. Yeah,
we say stuff with all kinds of those storylines now, and we don't think anything of it. But back in the 90s, that was pretty racy to do that.
Yeah,
stuff.
It was. And I mean, I can be really honest with you guys. For me, Riker, it'll always be Riker and Deanna, Riker and Troy. They are couples goals. I believe, especially when you see them, by the time you get to Picard, the show Picard, and you see them on Nepenthe, they are goals. But Riker had had a number of things. Riker got around. He was whoo.
He had the Riker maneuver. Shields up, red alert.
Riker.
All right, so now we're up to number one, but we always do our honorable mentions first before we get to number one.
Yes.
So honorable mention number one is this side of paradise. This is where we get to see Spock have a love interest.
Yes.
It's kind of the reason it didn't make the list, and I was going to put this on the list maybe instead of a muck time. Probably should have gone instead of a muck time, but this is forced on Spock.
It was forced because of that
because of the flower pollen thing, and although he clearly had feelings for her, I mean, why wouldn't? She's gorgeous, right? But
when it comes to Spock and love, I liked Zarabeth better from.
That would have been a good one too, and I'm sorry I didn't put that at least on as an honorable mention.
Let me get the episode.
It was such a side plot though that there wasn't really a love story between him and Zarabeth. There was just kind of this,
all our yesterdays. It's a lot of implied, like it's a lot of
it's a lot of implied, and again he was devolving which didn't really make any sense in that episode. Never understood it, but I guess that's what the librarian guy said. You haven't been prepared, and I think that's what he was talking about, is that he was devolving back to what Vulcans were at that time on his planet, rather than had he been prepared, he would have been not had that happen to him. But then he couldn't come back. So,
but there's
anyway,
some implied, a bit of an implied relationship between them, and anyway,
So, when you see him, it's kind of silly because you see him hanging upside down from a tree is kind of
it's fun to see him like that.
It's a little. So we get to see the other cool thing about this episode. We do get to see kind of a lighter side of Spock, smiling, laughing, almost like that from the episode.
Now, this is a chick he said he knew her from before.
Yes, they knew each other from some time in the past. I don't think they really go into a very long backstory as to how they knew each other. Certainly not like Corby and Durst Chapel.
Yeah, Corby and they were engaged.
Yeah. So these two had known each other at some other assignment, we assume, somewhere else. You never know. They might, strange new world, she might pop up. You never know. You never know. So anyway, this is an honorable mention. So next one we have, of course, is another paradise. I like to reuse words. This is the Paradise Syndrome, of course. And of course, this is when Kirk gets clonked on the head or zapped or whatever. And he's living about a month, I guess it is, or so, as a Native American. Well, on this planet as a Native American.
As a native, an indigenous something.
Indigenous person. There you go. And he falls in love with Miramani here. but again, you kind of feel that he actually does love her. I mean, he falls in love with her. She gets pregnant with his child. And then of course gets stoned to death, which is not a very good ending. Kirk has a lot of these tragic endings to his love affairs.
He really
You
does.
think he would be a little bit more careful because he bats 1,000. I mean, really, don't fall in love with Kirk because you're gonna die.
Oh God, yeah, John Gibbs. I am Kirok. Yes, that's where we get Kirok.
Yeah, I think it's just basically. I think that's the lesson to be learned from Kirk is do not love this man. He is a death sentence.
You will die. Yes,
you will die because
he's
he's
will
only
not end well.
one thing.
It will
is
all
the
end in
Enterprise.
tears. Probably
The
yours.
Enterprise is his woman.
The Enterprise.
So yeah, you guys know the story. I don't need to go to the backstory here, but so this is also one of the episodes where we kind of see that there's those alien race that is protecting certain and they do continue this, I think, a little in TNG. They mention it, and there's certainly a lot in novelizations to this race, this mysterious long gone race that has plucked humans and things from other planets and put them the preservers, I think. Is that what they're calling them? Anyway,
I don't remember what
this was again an honorable mention. Maybe you should have made the list again. Probably could have replaced a Muck Time. There's definitely more love going on here than that.
Kirk, art right.
Yeah.
Chris. Oh, the Shadow knows.
The preservers, yeah. So, all right, so moving on. We got another honorable mention. We got a bunch of honorable mentions. So this is the TNG episode. This is the one we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, the Trill.
This is the host. This is again. That's the Trill, because TNG. All aliens just have different nose ridges.
Yep.
That's how we tell them all the different. They're all humanoid with a different kind of bump on their head.
2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, 2 ears.
Everything's the same, pretty much, but a bump. So this episode is again a Beverly Crusher centric one. She falls in love. He's a scientist that's visiting. She falls in love with it. They get into a definite affair going on. And she doesn't know. Now, mind you, that nobody knows that he has a symbiote in him. That he's really 2 people. So he gets injured during some kind of something happens, and he's injured. And but again, the Trill rule is you cannot scan them. You can't do any medical care for them. They have to wait till their people come, because for some reason they want to keep the whole symbiote thing a secret. That they don't want. By
the time we get to Jadzia, that's sort of not
so yeah. Once we get to DS9, all that's thrown out the door. Anyway, so she eventually realizes she has to help him. She kind of defies his order because he's going to die, and then she finds out that he's got a worm in him. Get the worm in him. They thought it was a parasite at first. So anyway, Trill finally sends out a ship with another host because this one dies. The body dies, so to speak.
Yep.
The host.
Yep.
And they put it, and it's a woman that they put the new host in. And of course, the woman's like, "Hey, it's just different bodies, still me." He's like, "Let's get it on." And she's like, that's when she says, "No, it's not the same thing." So is she? Here's the question: is she kind of superficial because if the symbiote is them, although it is a blending of the two? Or is it just because she's just not attracted to a woman, or
is your argument that human nature is human nature and you're attracted to what you're attracted to, or is your argument that she is being what am I saying? Closed-minded.
Closed-minded in that
she should open herself and try to talk to this person to realize, yes, it is the same person that
I would think by this point in human history that this would not be a thing. But again, it was 90s, so it was a thing. Yeah.
They should have answered that question.
So anyway, that's the basic story. But there was definitely a whole lot going on there. And it was a good story. Again, it was very, for a social reasons at the time, it was very kind of making a very Star Trek statement on relationships.
Star Trek tried. And they didn't always do it, but
they tried. Well, again, it was really tough for them because they still had to get past censors and public opinion, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. Another honor. I got a bunch of honorable mentions, and this one is one of the funny ones. This is Cupid. This is, of course, when Q comes in and basically he's trying to get Picard to hook up
with the archaeologist lady.
With the archaeologist, yeah.
So archaeologist / thief.
Thief, yeah. So she of course just shows up at the Enterprise. Q's there, and Q's like, hey, you guys should, he's trying to force Picard into basically courting her. So he comes up with this, puts them in Sherwood Forest with the whole Robin Hood thing, and of course the best part of this is
it's
Worf
just like
saying,
blood fever, completely contrived. But hey, we love it.
Contrived. But the best line is Worf saying, "I am not a merry man.
I must protest. I am not a merry man.
I am not a merry man." So
good.
that alone kind of gives the it's a silly episode. That and Data as Friar Tuck is kind of funny.
Data as Friar Tuck.
It's a very silly episode. It's a funny episode. They run through the whole thing, and of course Q is the sheriff of Nottingham, so he's the bad guy. And at the very end of this, even though Picard kind of definitely has a thing for Vosh, I should say, she ends up leaving with Q.
Yeah, she does. Because she's an archaeologist / thief.
She's like, because Q wooed her with his Q-ness, like saying, "Hey, I can take you. You want to go to a place that's forbidden? No problem. We can go. Nobody's going to bother us. I'm omnipotent.
We're out. You're out."
So anyway, I thought this is a fun episode, John, and it's definitely. I mean, it has Cupid in the title, so I mean, how much more? You can't get any more Valentine than that, right?
No, you can't.
So anyway, and the last honorable mention I have is again another. This is the prequel to this one.
Yeah.
So this is Captain's Holiday. So this is the best part of this one is the whole Riker telling Picard to get him the Horgon.
Yeah, the Horgon. Yeah. But it's Vash again. She's the closest thing Picard ever really had to.
Yeah, that and then the woman that he was playing. They were playing music together. She was an officer that he realized he can't date an officer because he would have to send her potentially to her death.
I remember Famke Janssen. Famke? Who was on it? The chick that.
Yeah, that was a different one. He did fall in love with her too. Yep. Yeah. That one. I don't remember what the name of that one was.
Me neither.
Anyway, this one's again kind of a fun episode in a lot of ways. They're on Risa. There's the whole mystery of an ancient thing buried out in the woods, and it's of course has to do with time travel and.
John Capes is having trouble spelling Horgon.
John got it. The perfect mate was the one with Famke. Yeah. Who's got this?
I am for you. She put her paws up. I am for you.
Yes, I am for you. Whatever. Yeah. No, that was that which survives. I am for you, Captain Kirk. Anyway, this is just fun. This is where he meets Vosh. So he's of course very Picard, but you could tell that there's a little bit of spark between them. And then of course the whole thing where he's got the statue next to him, and these women keep coming up to him, and then he realizes what Riker did to him because if you have the statue out, that means you're open for business, so to speak.
Yeah, open for business.
You're open for business. So I had actually written a script based on that for TOS, a short. That was pretty funny. I wish we could have done it or something because it would have been hysterical.
We could do it as a radio play.
It ended with Spock, Scott, and Scotty on Risa.
Open for business.
Scotty that was part of a bet. Anyway, if anybody, I'd be happy to post my fan film script, but based on this, sort of loosely based. Anyway, okay, that is it for honorable mentions, but I do have some dishonorable mentions.
You have to do dishonorable mentions.
We have to do dishonorable. There's only two. We got Sub Rosa.
Seriously, guys, Sub Rosa.
This is probably people would say was TNG's worst episode. And all I'm going to say about this is poor Beverly has sex with a ghost.
Yeah.
Her grandmother's ghost. Or not the grandmother. Not
the grandmother's boyfriend's
but
ghost.
The grandmother's boyfriend ghost.
It was the ghost. It was grandmother's ghost, but not the ghost of the grandmother.
It was horrible.
The ghost that belonged to the grandmother.
It was this the worst episode. So
bad episode.
That was it. And this one might annoy some people, this next one, because I pretty much said all of Discovery because of all the crying.
There was a lot of crying However, I really enjoyed.
There's too much relationship to this show.
And Culber. There were a few lovely, lovely, lovely moments between Stamets and Culber. The rest of it was crying.
There was some stuff with them that looked very normal relationshipy type things.
Love
those two aside, but even they got a little too lovey-dovey. I mean, it was just a little too much. Like they're arguing and the ship's burning around them.
Yeah, one of them would have to leave on a mission, and there was a lot of
and that was the biggest problem with
just be
Discovery
professional,
was
go on the mission.
Yeah, there was too much looking at people's feelings and not enough saving the ship.
Not enough saving the ship.
So anyway, all right, we are up to number one. You guys probably already know which one I picked for number one.
Number one is
number one, and of course, it is The City on the Edge of Forever.
Widely regarded as
widely regarded. This is another one where Kirk falls hard and flat for Edith Keeler. And they never really kind of say how long. I don't think they do, how long they're on Earth of the past before McCoy gets there. It's at least a few weeks. I got the impression. But the reason I put this in here wasn't so much the love story between Kirk, because Kirk like I said, he falls in love every other episode, and the love interest dies. I mean, it's like it's not a new thing. The reason I put this one in here is the line that Spock gives when right at the end, when Edith Keeler runs out, she gets hit by the truck, and McCoy goes, "Why did you stop me? I could have saved her." And Spock just goes, "He knows, Doctor. He knows." Yeah. Like, because Spock understood how much pain Kirk was in. And to me, it was almost how much Spock cared about Kirk at this time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
their relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost like, so that's why I put it in for that reason. And of course, it's a very good episode. A lot of people will believe, I should say, that it's Star Trek's best, at least the original series best episode. It's never been my favorite episode. It's a great episode. I would have liked to see Harlan's script actually played out, although I've read parts of it, and a lot of it I could see why Gene changed it. Didn't fit Star Trek.
It had to be.
It was a change bit, but which of course, if you guys know the whole story, you know, Harlan was never happy about it, and from then on, I don't think he ever wrote again for Star Trek. At least not for the original series. He was very, very upset. Of course, knowing Harlan was a very temperamental person.
We could ask David about this. David Gerald would know. He would tell you.
David probably would know.
My favorite line actually from this particular episode is actually not anything to do with the line about.
David might not know, because I don't think David came on till season 2. This is the season.
No, I don't think he did either. But David and Harlan were pretty tight. I mean, they hung out together. They were buddies.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just saying, my favorite line is actually when Kirk's saying, someday a famous philosopher is going to write 3 little words, even more important than "I love you," and they're "let me help." I love that line. I love that line.
It's a well-written episode. It's a great science fiction story. Of course, there are some plot holes. There always are, though. One of the ones that bothered me was, and it even bothered me when I was watching as a kid, is Spock recorded all this on his tricorder, the history as it went by. Why couldn't he just play it back on the tricorder? Why did he need the bear skins and stone knife tube arrangement hooked to his tricorder to look at what was already on his tricorder?
Somehow the tricorder got damaged in such a way that the power thing was broken. He was trying to power it, I thought.
I don't know. They never really explain it. It doesn't matter. It's just that shows that he couldn't just whip it out and go, "Oh yeah, this is what happened. This is what should have happened."
Yeah.
So I get it. It was part of the plot, but
it was part of the plot. We needed it for the plot. He needed to gather up various things to make his.
He's trying to create a duodonic circuit with stone knives and bear skins.
Yes.
I think one of our Pilak was working on actually building that thing.
Oh, really?
With all the tubes.
And make it work.
I don't know if you ever finished. I think James would want them to build. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that is our top 10 love episodes for Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all have
not a definitive list. I'm sure you all have different opinions, and there's a lot. I hope you guys, if you are celebrating with someone you love, enjoy your day on Friday. We are off next week because Mary Beth is having surgery on her mouth.
Yes.
They're sewing it shut. No.
Yeah, right. Wisdom teeth, bye-bye.
Getting some teeth knocked out. I told her I could do it cheaper with those. I got a rusty spoon.
I should have let you. I'm dreading it.
Yeah. Are they knocking you out for it? Or you
Yes.
just
Oh
giving
God,
you the
yes.
gab? Yeah.
There's no way I
Yeah, you
could
really
not.
want. I hope it's an oral surgeon, right? You're going to
Yes,
rather
yes,
than just
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. You'll be. It'll. I've never had it done, but I know people that have had it done.
I thought I was
It's
going to
not
get away
pleasant.
with not having. I thought I was going to die
Yeah,
with these things in my mouth, but they decided to start growing the wrong way. So now
yeah,
they
I
work.
have mine. I have mine as well. So hopefully that's what the dentist asked me
Thank
one
you,
time
Jeff.
because the hygienists
I
hate
will
it
avoid
that I
pizza.
have them. The hygienists always hate it because they hate trying to clean all the way
Yes,
back there.
mine too. My hygienist
Yeah,
is
he's
always
like,
like,
and then like, and of course the dentist one time asked me, he goes, well, if you ever get a cavity, he's like, I'd rather pull the tooth than try to fix it because it's so hard to get to, and blah blah
yeah,
blah. And he's like, well, do you have any reason you don't want your wisdom teeth out? I said, other than the pain and expense, no.
yeah,
The
exactly.
two reasons I wouldn't want them out.
I
I don't
left
really
them
care if they're there. I just don't want to have
because
to
for a
go
long
through it
time they
and
were
pay
just
for it.
there. I mean, they were crooked, but they were just there. They weren't doing anything.
Yeah,
But now the
yeah,
one has decided to start getting into the bone of the tooth in front of it, and that's when you start having problems. So
yeah. I luckily I have room in my big ass mouth, so my whole family has. I think only one sister. I think, but
it's
my
good
mother
advice,
has
John.
them. My dad has them. I think I've told you the story of my grandfather. My great grandfather was Italian. They came from Italy. He didn't speak any English. He had his teeth
Oh,
he was in his 80s and he still had his teeth. And he was in the hospital and the nurse was like, I need your teeth because she just assumed he had false teeth at that age. Of course, this is probably the 1960s or 50s.
which probably everyone had them
Early
back then.
70s, we'll say. And then so he wouldn't, he was like, no, he's just shaking his head. And she finally stuck her hand in there to grab his teeth and he bit her because they're his teeth before she realized that they were his real teeth.
They were his teeth. Yeah. Oh,
Anyway, I know Roy is obviously still convalescing. I'm sure
Roy,
he's
yes,
not
wait, I do
fighting.
know what Roy's doing.
Oh, he's
Roy,
doing something.
it has David Frankham on Sunday the 16th. Phil has going to be preempted by sports this week, but he still has the Friday night freeform. And tomorrow at noon, he'll be on Bill McNulty's politics show. Bill has celebrated his 90th. No, is that 90th? Yeah, 90th. So more power to you, Bill. Happy birthday. And enjoy your show tomorrow with Phil. Well, tomorrow at noon on WUSB Stony Brook.
Yeah. So I don't know what we're doing when we come back in 2 weeks. We'll come up with something for the March top 10. Guys, give us some ideas because I like a lot more time. This one kind of came up on me fast. Yeah, I need a little bit more March. What's March Madness? March
Madness.
How about Star Trek top 10 insanity episodes?
Yeah,
how about
insanity.
That?
Someone's always going crazy.
People going crazy, whether it be a computer or a
yeah, like not the naked time and naked now. Like those.
Yeah, there you go. Or people people losing their mind and sitting on the edge of forever. I guess we'll probably be on the list again because
top 10 March Madness or March Madness.
So what do you guys think? Top 10 Madness episodes of Star Trek. Think that's a good one? Top 10 tooth episodes. I don't know what that means, Bill.
I don't think there are any teeth episodes.
No, there is. The only one I remember. Well, there's one. Lower Decks. The Moopsie episode. Because they knock out all of Ransom's teeth.
It grinds your bones and yeah.
Moopsie. I am rewatching Lower Decks, and the more I rewatch it, the more I find funny, and the more I love that show.
That show is genius.
You really got to go back and watch it again. You've only watched it one pass. If you only watched it in the one pass, you really need to go back and watch it again, and you will appreciate it even more.
We should just do top 10 Lower Decks episodes. We would never agree.
I think I like the insanity one. I think we'll do that unless everybody says it.
Yeah, really I like the insanity.
I like the
top 10 March Madness. Yeah,
top 10 March Madness episodes of Star Trek. This one should be good. So start working on your list.
I will. That'll be what I'm doing when I'm sitting there in my job.
Yeah, there you go. When you're wrapped up like a cartoon, they always wrap it around
like a cartoon. Okay, what are episodes where people went mad?
All right. On that note, I'm going to take this down here that we don't need to keep seeing. We will say good night, guys, and hopefully have a good weekend. As you know, up here in the Northeast, we're getting more snow tonight and again on Saturday. Yippee-ki-yay! It is the 4 months of February. So we will see you not next week, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
It'll still be February, but I don't know what we're doing. So we'll come up with something though. But if you have ideas, please feel free to let us know somewhere in some form or another. All right. Good night. Live long and prosper. And as always, may the force be with you.